Hey guys, I'm back. Another podcast of mine. I'm just gonna talk about. Well, first of all, do y'all notice anything different about me? Do y'all notice anything different about me? Like, is there something like that looks different about like me? Like, not the room because the room is the same, obviously. But like, is there something that looks different? And if you haven't noticed yet, I have no splint on my wrist and I can move it. Now let's talk about how the heck we got there. So basically, last week, I forgot which day it was. Literally forgot which day it was. But basically, I got my results back from my MRI, and originally they had suspected that I had a tear in a ligament that goes like somewhere over on this side. Turns out I did not have a tear at all whatsoever, except for on a joint on this side of my wrist. So that doesn't explain shit. But he basically told me like he, as in the doctor, told me like not to wear the splint or a brace unless I'm doing something with, and he was like literally on the phone with me, not saying shit because he didn't know what to do for me, and that's a whole other issue. But basically, moral of the story is there's no tear in my ligament, so I don't have to be careful with it because there's don't know that nobody knows what's wrong with it. So that's cool. Not at all. So let's talk about how we got here. So obviously it's been months and months and months and months of me having this injury. And obviously I've had to go through a lot to even get close to getting results for anything because first of all, it should not take that long to get the results from an x-ray, but there are like hella people that need to get scans all the time and whatever. So I've gotten several MRIs, several X-rays, and then I got this special MRI for the contrast or whatever that I had injected, which I talked about in a different podcast, I think a couple weeks ago. But basically, it took me from June until like very end of January. So that's June. We'll count it as a month. July, August, September, October, November, December, January. That's 8 months, almost 9 months of me being injured. And that's absolutely insane because it was like from October until now, it was literally just me waiting for one scan. And that was the MRI with the contrast. And then after all of that stress and all the stuff that I had to go through, this is my first year of my life where I have to handle my own healthcare and navigate all that and make all the calls and everything. Like there's no one really helping me out to do that stuff. Like it's really just me calling and calling and calling and calling and like for this to be my first experience, like first year of experience with having that responsibility, it was really rough and it put so much stress on my life. Like just waiting and waiting and waiting for calls and like waiting for results from stuff and like waiting to even hear back about referrals to do certain things and like it's just been really crazy and really it just sucks because like I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to get an appointment. Like my MRI with contrast that I just did took me so many. It went from October all the way to I think I got it in January. I'm pretty sure I got it in January, maybe December. I'm 99% sure it was in January, but it took me from October to January, so that's October, November, December, January. It took me 3 months to get into that. They canceled on me like 3 times, and it was just so annoying having to like on the day of they would call me and be like, "Hey, so actually they can't do it." And they just never explained why. They were just like, "Yeah, the tech is not going to be here." I was like, "Okay." Like they would be like there was a change in schedule or whatever and I would just be like, "Why would you schedule me on a day and then just not show up? Like how can you be a doctor and just not show up so consistently?" Like it was just really crazy to me. Another thing was my eyebrow jewelry. I went the first time to my first appointment that I ever booked to get that MRI with the contrast. I went and My jewelry here is titanium in my eyebrow piercing, and I was supposed to get it, I think, in November. I mean, the MRI, I think my appointment was around November, and I had only had my piercing for about 2 months at that point. So I was not gonna take this piercing out because I also can't do it yet. Like, I haven't figured out how to take it off because I have no interest in taking it off. Also, it's not healed, so I shouldn't like mess with it at all if I can help it. And so I tried to kind of explain that it was titanium, like which is used in implants, and this jewelry is like actually very expensive because it's implant grade. So like it has a lower chance of rejecting. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's like high quality jewelry. I know that, and I know that when I buy it, I'm paying for like a good experience with a piercing. I For having this many piercings, I really don't know that much about them. I just trust my piercer and that's it. But anyway, I basically showed up and they were like, no, since you can't take it out. And like me and my dad were trying to get it out for quite some time. And the tech was getting like very irritated with how long we were taking. And they were like, you're just going to have to reschedule. Um, you're just going to have to reschedule. So then every time they rescheduled me, I would text my piercer and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna come in this day to change the jewelry out," like just to let him know that what was going on, and that I would need a retainer for my jewelry. So I had to cancel on my piercer like 3 or 4 fucking times, and I felt so bad because like I don't know, just like as a person, like being canceled on feels so annoying because like you're like expecting this. And like I let people know like far in advance a lot of the time because I'm like trying to be considerate because they're providing me a service at the end of the day. Like my piercer, he's like a friend to me, but I value, and appreciate his and respect his time because he's still providing me a service. Like I'm still his client. And like that's important obviously to respect people who help you out or like people who serve you. Like I still pay him, obviously. It's like I'm literally just his client. So I felt so bad canceling on him every time, and like every time I would do that it would like make me think like how do these doctors not feel bad like for canceling on me so many times in a row. It was like ridiculous, and I would call the scheduling people because for some reason the scheduling system for this place that I was going to was like external, and so they didn't really know what was going on either. So I would call them, and the last time I called them I was like, please, like, do not let them cancel again because I literally have been waiting for so many months and it's like so unfair, and it just doesn't add up really, and it doesn't make sense, and I don't appreciate it, and I'm starting to get really upset, and I was fairly upset throughout the whole process, but I try to keep my composure and be respectful to others, obviously, because as I said, like, you have to respect people who are helping you out, providing you services. Like at the end of the day, every single person deserves some form of respect. Like you don't have to like someone to be like, is a word like cordial. Like you can be acquaintances with someone that you don't like. Like I get a lot of customers at work who I'm like, I literally don't like you, but I'm providing you a service and it's my job. I'm being paid to do this. So I don't know. I don't know. It just the whole thing was so insane. And then I was so glad that I finally got the MRI and I was like, okay, they're gonna figure out what is wrong finally, and I'm gonna get answers, and I'm gonna like get on a good treatment plan, or I'm gonna have to get surgery. It was either physical therapy, surgery, or I don't know what else are the other options, but it's just so disappointing to me that after everything that I went through, I finally get a phone call from my doctor, which, mind you, when they were calling me to tell me the results, they called me at work and they were like, "We're gonna put you down at 1:30 because he has an opening at that time, but he's not gonna call you until 3:30." So I was like, "Okay." I get off work and I'm waiting, waiting. It's 4 p.m. at this point, and I call them, and the guy at the front desk, which is the receptionist who answered my call, was like, we can't get a hold of the doctor or his assistant, so you're just gonna have to wait. And so I was like, no, like, I'm not, like, I didn't say that. I was just like, okay, well, is there any way that I can talk to them? Like, I can get in contact with them if you can't? And he puts me back on hold, and he says, like, let me try one more time. He puts me back on hold, immediately gets a hold of them. I hear from him back within like 3 minutes, I think it was. And he's like, okay, they're going to call you. He's with the client, but he's going to call you as soon as possible. He calls me at like 4:30 and, or like 4:45. It was way later than it was supposed to be. And, the clinic closed at 5. So I was like, okay, so you're giving me a call at the end of your day. That's crazy, but I'm like grateful that I'm at least getting the call finally. And so he gets on the phone and he's like, yeah, okay, it's a really good image. It's crystal clear. You can see everything very well. They did the study very well, but there's nothing, there's no tears in your ligaments. The only thing that I see here is a tear in your joint on this side of my wrist. Basically, he explained that it was a side with like the bone that sticks out, like this bone right here. And I was like telling him, well, I don't even have pain on that side of my wrist. Like, so I'm not sure why that's showing up and why there's nothing on the other side, because that doesn't make sense, because all my pain is on this side of my wrist. And he was like, yeah, well, sometimes like that's just a thing that happens. Like, people have pain and it comes and it goes. And I was telling him, like, it's all the time. Like, it doesn't come and or go. Like, it's just there. And he was like, yeah, I think I had something happen to me like this before and my wrist does the same thing. And I was like, no, because it doesn't come and go. It just came and it stayed. Like, it's not like conditional or not conditional. Like, it just hurts. And he was like, yeah, so since there's no tear in the ligament, I can't do surgery. So there's nothing that I can do for you. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was on the phone and I was like, so what do I do? Like, do I go to physical therapy? Like, do I need to get more tests done? Like, is there anything you can do? And he's like, well, we could put you in a cast for a couple months, but that wouldn't help. And I'm just sitting here like, you're the doctor. Sorry, I'm trying not to cuss this time so I don't have to edit it out so much, but you're literally the doctor. I'm your patient, and you're gonna tell me, oh, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, what are you talking about? You can't do anything for me. This is not like I have some kind of like, I'm not like patient zero. Like, I'm not, this is not a brand new like thing that just happened to me that's never happened to anyone else in the entire world. Like, I'm injured, I'm in pain, and there's nothing you can do for me. Like, what are you talking about? Because actually, what are you talking about? So I'm sitting there like, okay, do we do like physical therapy? Like, what do I do? And he's like, again, what I said before, he's like, we can put you in a cast for 2 months, but it's not going to help, I don't think. Or we can do an exploratory surgery, but I also don't think that's going to help, so I don't want to do that for you. And I was like, so what do I do? Like, what are you actually talking about? We can do this, but it won't help. We can do this, but it won't help. So I can't do anything for you, and I don't know what's wrong. Like, what are you actually talking about? And then he started saying how he can send me to a rheumatologist to see if I have arthritis, and I was like, I genuinely don't believe that this is arthritis. Like, I think, like, I've never had swelling in this wrist. It hurts when I touch it. Like, it hurts when I bend it back. That doesn't seem like arthritis, because isn't arthritis like joint pain? This is like my, not my joint, it's whatever like runs across my arm, because I've had pain up to my elbow. I've had pain through my forearm and my hand. Like, it seems like something is going on inside of it that's not a bone. Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand like all the parts of my arm or my hand. Like, I don't know what's all in here, but like there's something wrong in there, and if you can't see it, like, how, what am I supposed to do? Like I genuinely don't know what to say about, like, cuz how are you going to sit there in silence while I'm just on the phone with you, like, well, what can I do? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, sat there in silence, just not saying much. And then, like, what ended up happening is, like, he was talking and then the clock hit 5 p.m. and he was like, okay, I'm going to refer you out to this person and you can get a second opinion. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Like, maybe they can help me figure out what's wrong. He's like, yep, okay, bye. Sorry? Like, what do you mean? It hit 5 p.m. and you're like, okay, bye. Cause girl, I get paid like $16 an hour. Like, I don't even be making doctor money, but like I be staying over extra time because people need my help. And you're a doctor, you spent years of your life studying to do this. You do this for a living and you don't care. And you just don't care. Like you literally don't care enough to say on the phone or like even like try to think of things that aren't surgical that could possibly help me. What do you mean? We can do this, but it's not going to help you. We can do this, but it's not going to help you. Like, what do you mean? Because if you were a good doctor, I'm not. I have respect for this person because obviously he's smarter than I am. But what are you actually saying when you tell your patient that has been waiting for months for answers on anything, and you know this? He literally wrote down in my appointment summary all these notes about me. Okay, how I'm a musician and how I play all these instruments and how I do this and that and this and that and like all my whole life is on there because he was asking me all these questions at my first appointment. But how do you know all this about me? Why do you want to know all this about me if you don't care about my injury? Like I'm not your friend, bro. Like I'm your client. I'm your patient. You're supposed to help me. And I literally just cannot believe it. I cannot believe that this person has a job as a doctor if they're not literally trying to help. Like he was talking to me like I was his friend. Like, how's the music going? How's this going? How's that going? And like being sympathetic towards like, cause he asked me how my music's going. I was like, oh, I mean, it's not that good because like I can't really move my wrist. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully, we can find some answers. Then he tells me that, oh, there's nothing I can do for you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then afterwards, I called two different people and I told them what was happening and how upset I was. And they're like, "Oh, it's so good that there's nothing wrong though, because then you don't have to get surgery, and it's so good that you're gonna get a second opinion because maybe they'll know what's wrong." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's a good thing that they didn't find anything wrong." Because like, yes, thank God I don't have to get surgery on my ligament. Like, thank God it's not torn. But like, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, are you actually serious? Are you actually serious? Are you actually serious? And I apologize to all the listeners of this podcast or like all the people who watch this who just genuinely every other episode is just me crashing out, but like this is actually crazy. Like this is supposed to be a story time and now I'm actually like crashing the fuck out because oops, I think that was the first time I used a cuss word this whole time, but that was just actually insane. And then this is gonna be kind of funny, but after all that happened, it was like starting to get dark, and I was like, no, because I was like really upset and I was like crying, and I was like, I don't know what to do because like a doctor that I've trusted to help me just told me that he can't do anything about me, and no one's like saying anything that's helpful. So I was like, okay, I need to leave my house. So I left my house and I drove to like this spot that's just like a view and you can see like the whole San Fernando Valley and like all the lights and it's like so nice. I drove up there, got out of my car, walked down. It's like a trail that you kind of have to walk down. So I walked down there, got to the view, stood there, and I was like, wow, it's so pretty. Because I was facing the side where like the sun had set on that side, I think. So it was still kind of bright over there. And I could see all the lights. And then I turned around and all I saw was dark clouds and pitch black. And I was like, okay, nope. I literally went there, stood there for maybe about 2 minutes, and then ran back to my car because I was like, this is horribly scary. Like, the area that I was in, like, it's not close to anything. It's kind of like in the middle of hills. And it's just like a trail that goes down to another hill. And there's just like hills and hills and hills. And there's like one giant house and like another giant house. Like, it's very secluded and I was just like really scared. So I did go back like almost immediately. And then I kind of drove around for a bit and then yeah. But genuinely, I actually don't even know what to say about any of that. I really, really don't. Um, so now I'm just waiting to see like if because I he didn't tell me like if I'm gonna get a call from anyone to schedule that second opinion, if I needed an appointment, or if the doctor's just gonna call me. Like I literally have no clue. So now I'm just waiting to see what the heck happens in regards to my second opinion. I literally don't know at all. I literally don't know, but I'm just gonna keep living my life. It's been kind of freeing not having the splint on, but it also hurts because like I'm so used to having it there that now like I like when I try to freely do stuff, like I would be limited in the way I could move it before. So like when I would push stuff, like it would just be my hand like this pushing stuff, but now it can actually bend back and it's been hurting quite badly. The other thing is like I just don't have that support on my wrist. Like if I try to lift things up too, like my I don't know, it just hurts because I'm not used to it anymore because it's been like months of having that on like all day long. But in some ways it's kind of nicer. Like I can write better with a pen and stuff. Like, but I don't. I just wish that they could have told me something. Like I'm glad that there was no surgery that had to happen. Like I'm glad that my ligament is not torn, and I didn't think that it was in the first place. But I'm glad that it isn't, and I can only just hope for more. Like actual diagnoses. Like, um, I don't know what else. Like I just now after all that emotion that I kind of let go of all the stress that was on me, but it's kind of still there because I still have no answers at all, and I'm scared because it's like affecting me in so many ways, and I just like wish it could be over. I thought I was going to get closer, but I literally just hit a dead end, and I am just now waiting even more and more and more, and it's just taking much longer than I feel like it should. Plus, if I do have to get surgery for something, it's gonna be a months long recovery because it's like a very important part of your body. Like, I'm also right handed, so that's not helping either. But if I do get surgery at some point, like, it's still like gonna be a long recovery process so I can get back to doing the things that I like doing. And so, knowing that I'm injured now and I'm waiting to see how I'm injured, and then I'm waiting even longer to get back to like every delay in this process is just pushing my recovery further and further and further away, and it makes me so anxious because I feel like right now, especially in the career that I want to pursue, which is music, I'm at the age where like I need to do it and I need to like really like lock in and start pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing like social media posts like every week, twice a week maybe, like different platforms, using different platforms, trying different marketing strategies, releasing more music. And it's just like stressing me out so bad because I feel like it's so much easier to like be known if you're younger in the industry. Like if someone makes a song and they're like, and this is not meant to be disrespectful at all, like I definitely believe in like any you can do music at any age and like be successful in it, and there's so many people who can serve as testimonies to that, like, and like so many examples to that. Like it's really never ending. Like you can really do creative careers like at literally any age of your life. But what I'm saying is like it's so much easier to be like, we'll say like 14 making like some crazy like chopped ass like cool, really cool, some kind of beat or something, versus like a grown adult who's like aware of everything they're doing and like actually grown and like able to like understand the world doing something. I don't know if that makes sense, but and I mean absolutely no disrespect to anyone. Like I have friends that are older than me, and like I have friends of all ages that do music, and I believe in all of them, and it's just a good community. But anyway, I just feel like I'm falling behind, and I'm falling behind so much, and it's not even like my fault. It's like the fault lies on like the healthcare system and like the people in the healthcare system that are not helping, aka the doctor who told me that he couldn't do anything for me. I'm just stressed out, honestly. But yeah, again, I just got to keep hoping for the best, and I know that like my family and friends are hoping for the best for me as well. And I just have to trust that I'm going to be fine, and that I'm going to get some kind of results, and it's going to be okay, and I'm going to recover, and then I can really really lock in, and then I'll just be even more grateful for my life at that point, because like wow, it's been a lot to go through, a lot to go through, and all I can do is just hope that it's going to keep getting better. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I'm actually really tired. I just woke up from like a 15-minute nap, because I feel like when I take 20-minute naps, or like 20 plus minute naps, like I just want to keep on sleeping because my body like actually starts to like fall into a deep sleep. But I take a 15-minute nap and I hardly even like felt like I was asleep, but it kind of refreshed me. I got up, brushed my teeth, and now I did this podcast and I talked to you guys, and I feel better. Talking about stuff helps. Like the more you do it, the easier it feels, because you're not holding on to it so much. But it definitely still hits home a bit. Like it definitely still has an impact on me, obviously, because or else I wouldn't really be talking about it. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys have a really good week. This is gonna go up on time again on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys all have a good week, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Listen to my music, follow my Instagram, subscribe, and like the video, and have a good day. Bye. I'm a forest fire.